everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at Magical Chase on the PC Engine, a game that more than anything is known for being rare and valuable, but we're going to disregard all of that for now and just focus on whether or not it's a good game. It was developed by Palsoft and published by Quest, first in Japan in 1991 and later in North America in 1993. It centers around a little witch named Ripple, who's trying to catch 6 demons she accidentally released from a cursed book that belongs to her teacher, and she's accompanied by 2 little star maidens that look more or less like a couple of star men from Mario Brothers. It's been pointed out that Magical Quest resembles the Cotton series to a certain extent, which is true, but I think I can live with having 2 witch-based shooters floating around out there. Magical Chase really feels like an amalgamation of different features from a bunch of different shooters put together into what I think turned out really well. For starters, the cute look of the game and the design of Ripple are again very reminiscent of Cotton, but not what I would call a direct copy. The Star Maidens act as 2 options that can not only fire in all directions, but can also absorb enemy bullets, so they're kind of like a mix of the options and Shield from Gradius. Plus, if you want, you can lock them in a certain position to keep them from moving around, which is great when you're in areas where you know enemies are going to be coming from mostly one direction. Another important feature in Magical Chase is the item system. Defeated enemies leave behind multicolored crystals, kind of like in Lords of Thunder, that can be collected and spent in a shop that is very reminiscent of the ones in Fantasy Zone or even Forgotten Worlds. Here you can buy lots of different weapon upgrades, health power-ups, and bombs, which are all extremely useful and eventually very necessary. Magical Chase is comprised of 6 stages, each with at least 2 boss battles. And while it's not exactly the most difficult shooter I've ever played, it is still a very challenging game, especially once you make it past stage 3. 2 things that make the difficulty more manageable are that you have infinite continues, and you don't lose anything when continuing, so you just go back to the beginning of the stage with all of the money and power-ups you previously earned still intact. There are 3 difficulty settings to choose from, so you can practice on the easy setting, but you won't be able to play past the 3rd stage. Overall, this is a very fun shooter that brings a lot of ideas together in a way that works very well. It's not my favorite shooter on the PC Engine, but I would be comfortable at least putting it in my top 10, which, considering how many good shooters there are on the PC Engine, is really high praise. This is a great looking game. As I said, it's a quote-unquote cute 'em up, so all of the character designs have a really cartoonish and childish look to them, which on the whole I like. I typically don't have a lot of complaints when it comes to this kind of design. All of the stages are very colorful, detailed, and look really nice, and I didn't experience any slowdown at all, which is always a plus. The sound design is also top-notch. The soundtrack is just great. Every song is good, and they have a very lighthearted and playful sound to them, which works perfectly in this type of game. The sound effects, while not the most impressive I've ever heard, are still pretty good, though the sound Ripple makes when she gets hit can get a little irritating over time. All things considered though, this game features some outstanding presentation, which I was pleasantly surprised by. So really, the only negative thing I can say about Magical Chase is that it's very hard to come by, and if you ever do, the price will be beyond unreasonable. Typically $300 on the low end for the Japanese version, all the way up to $1,000 or more for the TurboGrafx version, which needless to say is pure insanity. It really is a shame because this is an excellent game that I'm sure any shooter fan would definitely enjoy. So if you could possibly just borrow a copy from the internet for a little while, I wouldn't blame you. It's Magical Chase and it's a whole lot of fun.